Another day and another amp build, and today I've got a new box of bits that have come through the post that will hopefully turn into something rather musical, rather loud and rather bluesful. I don't know if bluesful is a word, but if it is, I've just made it up. Let's open the box anyway and see what's inside. Now, the first thing in this box is this. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with the amp at all. This is actually for my El Pico that I've been restoring, and there should be by now another video up about the El Pico AC88 that I've been restoring. It's in two parts. I did the initial video and then I did a little update of what I've done, and this will form part of that video, and you can see that on my channel. First thing we've got here is a parts list, or the pick list. Everything that's in this kit is there. One thing mentioned on the kit is the case and the speaker. Now, they haven't arrived yet. They always come a little bit later. But we will open up and see what we've got inside. So this is the first thing. This looks like our chassis. This is what the amplifier is built into. And it's wider than the Champ, obviously, because it's a bigger amp that I'm building this time. And there are probably some components inside. And so we have our eyelet board. We've got some resistors. We have got a bag of valve bases, jack sockets, knobs, nuts and bolts. We have all our capacitors. We have a selection of hookup wire and heat shrink sleeving, and we have our valves inside there. Take out our output valves there. So there's our output valves. We've got a rectifier and we've got two input valves. And here we have a beautiful looking chrome style control panel there. Back to the box then, we'll take out some more of this, and we've probably got the heavy stuff now. Here we've got inside a lot of bubble wrap, that's to be said, but you know, best to keep these things safe and sound. This looks like our output transformer, so this will connect from the two output valves and they'll drive the speaker. That's got their own branding on there. Here we've got just some mains cable, a strain relief and a 13 amp plug, so that's just self-explanatory. And the last thing we have is this, and this is a beast. This is heavy, but it kind of has to be, because this is really the heart of any valve amplifier, because this is what delivers the power. And this is our mains transformer. And as expected, it's bigger than the one that was in the Champ. Oh, I'm the microphone there. A lot bigger than the one that was in the Champ. Whole load of wires on here. I'll show you what they all are. On the top, we have our AC inputs, that's 240 volts AC going in. At the bottom we have got, this is a centre tap wire for the heaters, so that has to be taken to ground, and I think, and these are our heater wires. These are the heater wires to go to the rectifier valve. That's another wire to go to ground. And this is our HT wires. These are our big voltages. Well, here's all the parts laid out on the table. I've took the liberty of fitting some of the switches to the chassis already. It is a shame there isn't any proper washers or a shake proof underneath. I might see if I can get some, because I'd rather have washers and make it look a bit nicer. But anyway, fitted the fuse socket, the indicator light, the 3 pots. The next thing I will do is I will fit the transformers to the chassis. There's our two transformers in place, power transformer here on the left and the output transformer on the right. The next thing to do is to connect up anything that can be connected up first. So it will involve mounting the valve bases and then starting to connect all this stuff up and some of this. For example, this is the output of the output transformer. So I can immediately put in the two jack sockets for the speakers and wire that up, and then that's all done and out the way. The next thing I'll do after that is I will wire up all the heater filaments and the HT feed to the rectifier, and then we should have something that's starting to look a little bit like an amplifier. Right then, so I've wired in the mains here. I'm going through the switch and I've heat shrunk everything that we don't need to see. Live comes in through the fuse, through the base of the fuse, and goes to the switch, and then that goes off to power the amplifier. Now, this is the earth coming in, and also this this cable retainer isn't very tight, so I've put some cable ties on there just to keep it in place. I will be putting a cable attachment on this into the side of the case as well, so that's not going to move. But if you look at the schematic here, you should be able to see that the earth is supposed to attach to a lug here on the chassis, which is about here. But if you look, there's no hole there at all. So I'm going to drill a hole there to mount the earth lug there. You can see all the valve bases are now in place. And also on the two output valves, there's a resistor that goes across there that I've also installed while it was out, just because it was easier. So the next thing we'll do is I'm going to drill that hole, and I'm then going to wire up all the heater filaments and the HT wires. And then I think that is most of the wiring done before I make the circuit board. Okay, I've spent about an hour and a half on this now. Here is the heater wire for the rectifier. There's the high voltage into the rectifier. This is our heater wire. And the heater wire there is running along the bottom of the chassis, all nice and neat out the way. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wire up the jack sockets, and then I will fit them, and then I will build the circuit board. Here on the volume and tone controls, I've done a little trick where you actually mount the sockets on the outside of the chassis so you can wire them up more easily and then put them on the inside. I did exactly the same thing for the jack sockets as well. So there's our tone control and there's our two volume controls. I've heat shrunk some of the capacitors going to the tones just to give it an extra bit of insulation, but mechanically it looks very solid, and hopefully once it's in situ it will last for a very long time. I was so engrossed with this build that I stopped filming what I was doing, and thus didn't have any footage of me building the construction of the circuit board. So here's a photograph of the board before it went into the chassis. I didn't think for a second I would get this amp finished today, but I have done, and I've done a load of continuity checks, and I'm 99% sure this is all wired up correctly. The amp's switched on. I'm just going to plug it in and see what happens. So there's a little bit of hum, which I kind of expect, because that's what you get with these sort of amps. Right, I'm going to see if I can put some tone into this and see if I can get some sound. No. No, not a peep. Not a peep, so let's unplug this. Okay, so it didn't work just then, and the reason it didn't work was because there's actually quite an important couple of wires that I'd forgotten to solder in that drive the output. So with that in mind, I have now got the test toner there. I'm just going to plug it in again now and see what happens. Right. Oh yeah. Got plenty of volume coming out of there and that channel. So I'm just going to go get a guitar and plug it in, see what it sounds like. Well, I finished the amp build about 3 weeks ago, and as per the order, it takes a little while for the cabinet to arrive because they have them specially made up. But in this box should be the cabinet and the speaker, so let's get it all open. Well, this is very well packed, as was the last one, to be fair. But then these cabinets aren't cheap, they are £300, so I think the £300 packaging should be looked at. The cabinet feels quite light actually, but then I suppose once you've got the speaker inside it and then the amp itself, it will take a bit more space. Anyway, there it is. That is the cabinet for the amp. That's the it's nice, yeah. I mean, if we look at the back, you should be able to see in there, there's the baffle inside for the speaker. We'll take this back panel off in a minute because we'll need to fit the speaker, but yeah, I mean, it's really well made. I mean, that's, you know, a very well made, good quality cabinet, so I'm very pleased with that. But also in here should be something else, which is here. If we take that out, it has Celestion written on it, and this should be, yeah, I thought some tape. Now it's been opened, which makes me think there might be some bits and bobs in here that we will need. I hope that's what they've done anyway. Oh no, no they haven't. There we go. There we go. A brand new 25 watt G12M greenback speaker. Now, these are actually not the sort of speaker you'd normally associate with a Fender amp. However, I love these were recommended with the build, and I love the sound of these anyway because I use these in my Marshalls. So yeah, look at that. Beautiful looking speaker, that. Nothing down the side, no. Nothing on the side packet, no. As I said, I thought there may have been something in the speaker box. Nope, nothing at all. That's a big disappointment because I was hoping to have the amp finished today, but that's not going to happen because I haven't got the bolts. Well, I've mounted the speaker in the cabinet and it all fitted in perfectly. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solder on a speaker cable. Even though one didn't come with it, I'm still going to make one up now. And then I'll see what bolts I've got, and if I've got a bolt that's roughly the same thickness and size and some good washers, then I'll temporarily put a nut and bolt in just to finish it off, but then hopefully they'll send me the correct ones and I can just replace it. I'm just about to plug in the main valves, but just thought you'd like to see the chassis in the back of the case. There's the bolts that fit in, and same thickness as the ones that should be there, so it'll be an easy changeover when the proper ones arrive. Okay, well, how does this amp sound? Well, I've got both inputs ganged together, and I've just got the amp turned down, and I've got the tone control right in the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is demo the normal channel. It's got that kind of classic Fender clean sound. And then if we move on to the bright channel, so there's a lot more treble on that. And if you can do a little mix of the two. That for me is sort of the sort of the Fender sound I've been looking for. Oh, that noise, by the way, is just I've got an iffy jack socket on this guitar. Now, with these amps, you don't have to turn them up very much for them to be quite loud. And as you turn the volume up more and more and more, rather than the sort of the general amp volume getting louder, it just saturates more. So the kind of thing you want to do is to just turn the amp up, but turn your level on your guitar down a bit. You can get some really lovely clean tones. So yeah, I think this is, you know, a great sounding amp. You've got to get a little bit used to it. It does hum a bit. I mean, whether that's down to how it was wired or just how the design of the amp is. It's interesting, if you actually flick the amp into standby, you still hear some hum, which is a bit like the little champ. There's just this little underlying hum that you hear. And I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm guessing it's something to do with the transformers in them. I don't know. But it does seem to be fairly common. But with the amp on, I mean, I'm quite close to the amp, so I'm picking up a bit of hum, but I can assure you when you stand away from the amp, then the hum becomes a lot less. You're not going to hear any hum at all. Anyway, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this little amp build. It's not as in-depth as the last one, and you know, if you want to hear what a Tweed Deluxe sounds like, there's tons of videos on YouTube on what Tweed Deluxe sounds like, and this in essence sounds exactly the same as all those other great amps. So anyway, I'm looking forward to taking this out on my next gig, which would have been tonight actually, but I've got a little bit of cold thing happening, so I'll probably wait till next week and I'll take it out. And if you keep an eye on here or on my Facebook page, I'll probably pop up a video of me playing it live so you can hear what it sounds like. But for now, that's it. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like and subscribe and keep your eyes peeled for the next one.